Let's just start with a hard truth, shall we? If you're wrestling with VLOOKUPs in some massive Excel sheet, you're not really doing data in the modern sense. You're basically performing digital archaeology, just digging through the ruins of old spreadsheets. So the real question is, how do we move from being an archaeologist to an architect? Well, in this breakdown, we're going to cut through all that marketing hype and give you a founder's guide to the data analysis tools that are actually out there. We're going to demystify this whole complicated, noisy space so you can make the right call for your business. And believe me, it is a very noisy space. The market for these tools, it's on track to hit a staggering $82 billion by 2025. This isn't just a market, it's like a chaotic arms race. And for a founder, picking the wrong weapon can be a really costly mistake. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with a problem we're all facing: drowning in data. Then we'll get into the BI heavy hitters and what the engineers are using. After that, we'll look at the modern data stack, pull back the curtain on the whole AI illusion, and finally wrap it up by helping you figure out how to choose the right tool. So let's dive into that core problem. You know, for all the talk about an AI revolution, the great irony is that our data has never been messier. We have more information than ever before, but we are absolutely starving for actual clear answers. And here's the cold, hard truth you really need to hear before you spend a single dime. Most of that revolutionary software being pitched to you, it's just a beautiful, shiny wrapper for the same old SQL queries that have been running for decades. So the big takeaway here? You have to look under the hood. All right, let's move on to the tools you're probably going to run into first. The business intelligence, or BI heavy hitters, you know the ones. These are the big platforms built around dashboards and slick visualizations. First up, you've got the corporate titan, Microsoft Power BI. It owns something like 20% of the market right now. And honestly, the best way to think about it is Excel on steroids. It does what you think Excel does, but it's built to handle massive data sets that would make a regular spreadsheet just, well, weep. And then, on the other side, you've got Tableau. This is the artist's choice. Salesforce snapped it up because it is the undisputed gold standard for visualization. You can think of it as the Apple of the data world. It's beautiful, it's intuitive, and yeah, it is very expensive. So, how do you choose between them? It's actually pretty simple. If your entire company already runs on the Microsoft ecosystem, Power BI is a total no-brainer, especially with its low entry cost. But if your main goal is to present a jaw-dropping dashboard to the board that tells a really compelling story, then you invest in Tableau. But, you know, this whole conversation raises a really critical question. We're so focused on building better dashboards, but what if the entire idea of a dashboard is flawed for some people? What if you just didn't need one at all? And that is the whole idea behind a tool called ThoughtSpot. Their goal is literally to kill the dashboard. It's built for that non-technical executive who needs an answer right now and doesn't have time to wait for a data analyst. You just type a question in plain English and boom, it generates the chart for you. It's pretty impressive stuff. Okay, so we've seen the glossy front-end tools. Now let's peel back a layer. For the data scientists and engineers, those BI tools are just the last mile. The real heavy-duty work, that happens in the code. And right at the center of that world is Python. Look, it's not just a language. It is the glue that holds the modern world's digital infrastructure together. When you need to do serious machine learning or deep automation or build a custom fraud detection system from scratch, you use Python. The verdict is clear. It's absolutely essential. It's non-negotiable for any serious data team. But while Python gets all the hype, you can't forget about R. In some areas, it's still king. It's kind of like the statistician's last stand. If you're doing academic research or complex healthcare analytics or heavy financial modeling, our specialized libraries are often still way superior when you need deep statistical rigor. So you've got your coding languages, you've got your BI tools. But how does the data actually get from point A to point B? Well, that's where the modern data stack comes in. The best way to think about it is as the essential plumbing that makes everything else work. And this slide really breaks down the 3 key steps of that plumbing. First, you have ingestion. This is where tools like Fivetran go out and pull data from all your scattered sources into one single place. Second step is warehousing, where platforms like Snowflake act as this massive central library for all that data. And finally, number 3, you have transformation. This is where a tool like dbt comes in to clean, organize, and make that raw data actually usable for analysis. Now, let's get to the topic that everyone is talking about, AI. And for this part, we need a cynical but oh so necessary reality check on what's really going on in the data world right now.
Just let that sink in for a second. 90%. That is a bold, provocative claim from our source, for sure, but it points to this massive gap between the marketing hype and the actual engineering reality of AI and data analysis today.
And here is the core reason why. An AI can generate a perfect chart showing a spike in your customer churn, no problem. But it has zero idea that the spike happened because your head of marketing quit back in November and it threw all your campaigns into chaos. It just lacks context. At the end of the day, data is a human story. So, with all that context, from the BI tools to the coding languages to the AI illusion, how do you actually choose the right tool for your business? Let's shift gears and get into a practical, actionable framework. This table here breaks down the choice almost perfectly. For companies that run on Microsoft, Power BI offers incredible value, a 10 out of 10. If visual beauty is your top priority, Tableau is your go-to, but just be ready for the higher cost. For small businesses, Zoho is a fantastic starting point. And hey, if you're already in the Google ecosystem, the free Looker Studio is an absolutely unbeatable option. And this brings us to one of the most common questions people ask when they're starting to get really serious about data. Do I actually need to leave the comfort of my trusty Excel spreadsheet for something like Python? The answer is yes, but with a really crucial caveat. Look, for quick, back-of-the-napkin math on a pretty small data set, Excel is still faster and more intuitive. But the second your data goes over 1,000,000 rows or you need to automate some repetitive task, Python becomes infinitely more powerful. Excel will crash, Python won't even blink. So we'll end on this thought. The market is absolutely full of vendors promising a magic button, some AI-powered solution that's going to solve all your problems. But as we've seen, that's pretty much an illusion. The real question you need to be asking yourself is this: what is the right tool for the right job for my team right now? The answer to that question, that's where you're going to find real growth.